But it's just...
They should call it the Game Boy. No one's doing the Game Boy.
I think you'll find Nintendo own the trademark for that for a long time.
I think you'll find. I think you'll find, as me and Steven did.
We talked about the Playdate.
Talked about at length. The market has been crushed.
To be fair,
you should listen to that podcast. It's a great podcast, man.
I'm pretty sure they own the Game Girl as well. To be fair,
I think it was a Game Girl, wasn't there?
No,
like a promotional.
But they would argue the hell out of it with grey suited lawyers that it's the same thing, so you couldn't be able to use it anyway.
I don't think anyone would do it because it would just sound condescending. They'd be just like backlash.
Game Man.
The
Playdate
wins.
Man.
The Playdate wins.
It has the crank.
Played what?
The Playdate.
Playdate.
He's not, dude. You got this right. It's imagine little thing, but
7 by 7 centimeters.
And it's like
square.
Little. It's like imagine like a Game Boy Color, but flattened.
7 by 7 centimeters.
Show the video. Play some video.
7 by 7 centimeters. That's the screen.
No, that's the whole unit.
Where's the screen? Is it a projector?
No, it's a monochrome screen. Monochrome. The display is monochrome.
Imagine a gaming system that used the what's it called? The Amazon. What's it called?
Oh, you've said my
Kindle.
You've said
Kindle.
Imagine it uses an e-reader display.
Imagine it had the Kindle.
It does
paper screen.
It's got very good refreshment.
Right?
It's very good.
Imagine it had that, and it was a gaming system.
Yeah. And how many colours?
One.
Black and white.
No, one.
Well, it's absence of colour. So
Yes, it's absence of colour. It's black and white. There are no colours.
Can I just ask? Is it ready for the HUD?
Absolutely not.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Digital Suffering Podcast. I'm Steven Something. To my right we have... Introduce yourself.
I'm still James.
He's still James. And to my front we have...
PhamtomLimb.
But what?
One more time for the cheap seats.
PhamtomLimb.
Okay. So Mr. Ellerman...
You clean your ears out, man.
Listen, you mumbly... This is not a good way to start a podcast. Right, I had stuff to talk about, but since we've not watched the videos...
Go for it. What are you talking about?
Well, there was... saw a thing on Steam. Came up, I don't know if you'd spotted it. My Friend Pedro.
Yes, I watched some gameplay of it yesterday. It is a mix of what looks like motion captured, digitized graphics, a banana,
a sentient banana,
horrible game controls, which include...
I need to see the game controls.
The up, down, left, right keys being used, and the mouse independently of that in order to aim. Horrible enemy types, horrible level design, bad music. I don't think I would ever play it unless somebody was going to pay me a small fortune to do so. I think I've wasted enough time talking about it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think when I sort of looked at it, I was like... I also watched the sort of gameplay trailer, and my first thought was, this is what Deadpool, the game would be if there was a Deadpool game. Because it obviously...
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. Well, you're entitled to disagree, but I'm entitled to disagree with your disagreement. Anyway, it was like...
I think that is a disagreement.
Yes, it was like all the gun ballet and stuff, and the fact that the character's wearing like a mask.
Film. Is it a gun cutter?
It was not gun carter. It was more, sort of Max Payne leapy about shooting things. That was called the targeting system though. Confused me because it was obviously like they said, oh, you can do like. Mouse keyboard, and it's like, but you can control you can have the arms point at like different directions. It's like,
yeah, you can lock if you've got two handguns, you can lock one and then move the other.
Ah, okay, that makes more sense because I was, obviously in the demo they showed the guy sort of flipping through the air, shooting like it's sort of diagonal, two different people, and then mid arc he would like change targets again, and it was like. You like need like 4 hands for this.
That sounds very well edited, because I watched somebody playing it yesterday on Twitch, and when he did those moments, he was getting shot profusely before he could lock on one enemy and then move it to lock on the other. Like, he sustained a good shots in the face, several.
Or possibly that it was done by the devs or whatever, so it was someone who had put a lot of hours into into playing it.
Also, how do we feel about trusting games that use a slow down time mechanic in this day and age?
There's nothing wrong with that. Red Dead Redemption 2, it's a great game and it has slowdown mechanics.
How much time have you put into Red Dead Redemption 2?
0 hours.
Well,
how much time have you put into Red Dead Redemption 2?
I've watched it for a couple of hours.
And what was your point?
I haven't played it, so therefore I can't really tell. It seems like you could be almost invincible, but I think there's a bar which
there's a limitation to obviously to slowdown mechanic. Here it's prevalence, like for majority.
It's there.
The
bar's there,
and it's very you can do a lot of it. Obviously, there was called for Red Dead. It's for cinematic effect where I'm locking multiple targets, and where if you're doing it with a controller, you'd like hand it and go, well, that sort of impacts the user experience. Whereas here, the slowdown mechanic is a necessity for overcoming the sheer odds of the amount of enemies you have to deal with.
Do you think the devs of this game were going out of their way to find a game that people would only ever play once, if that?
Well, the reviews on Steam were a lot of them were very critical of the short playtime. They said 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
To completion.
How much does it cost?
It's like £15 or something.
But it was like they also mentioned that the replayability was also a bit. After you've shot people repeatedly.
I can't imagine the replayability would be anywhere beyond 0.
Well, that's it. A number of them, mentioned that there was, once you played it, it was like there was little reason to go back other than to get like S ranks on the levels. For completionists or people who wanted to, prove how skillful they were. But as a
to paraphrase the streamer that I was watching, where he said, "This is taking longer than I thought it would." I was intending on just spunking this out and going to get something to eat.
So it's too long. 2 to 3 hours? That's too long.
I think that was a measure of his pain of playing it for more than an hour.
Well, each to their own, I guess.
Got my money.
Well, who's the developer? Devolver sent us a review copy.
Is it Devolver?
Devolver the publishers. I don't know.
Well,
the developers. I can't remember. They're
I think it's just a very small studio, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just a couple of.
But there's a Devolver publish a lot of these sort of indie games, so it's fine. And as long as people think they've got their money's worth out of the game, then power to them. One reviewer did mention that he said it's a shame it doesn't come with like perhaps the ability to make your own levels.
I wonder how many times this has been refunded on Steam.
Can you get refunds because the game?
Yes, no. You can totally say this is. You can write a reason and ask for your money back, and I think 9 times out of 10 you get your money back. Obviously, if you played it for 4 days straight, like 24 hours a day, and then said, "Can I have my money back?" they might go, "Well."
The stats say you did.
Yeah, content-wise, it seems like you've had your fill.
Yeah, but obviously, if it's got like a 2 to 3 hour play, you say, well, I didn't like it. But,
James looks enamoured by this game.
I don't like the visuals at all.
No,
really.
I
think that
I find the graphical choice wrong for this kind of game.
I think it's okay for
I don't
what
like
it
the
is.
perspective either. Why are we consistently side on?
No, but it's a side-on game. It's 2D.
There are horrible levels in this game
not 2D,
where
though.
platforms fall out of space. And you have to wall jump constantly. It is tiresome, badly programmed. It's just no.
Okay, so we'll put this on the must-buy section.
What's with the banana?
He's this friend Pedro. His friend Pedro is a sentient banana who is in peril, and he is on a quest to liberate his friend from the hordes of enemies.
This game might have a hidden meaning between mental illness.
But that does just sound like nonsense, doesn't it?
Oh, it's hilarious. What are you talking about?
Listen,
it's not
hilarious.
There are many games. History is filled with millions of games that have nonsense plot lines that are just bare excuses for a game.
This isn't a nonsense plot. It's not about an Italian plumber from Brooklyn going to a magical mushroom kingdom. It's about a banana talking to someone.
Yes, and as Mr. PhamtomLimb mentioned. It may be that
the banana is. He's in mortal peril.
He may be hallucinating that the banana is, doing the talking.
Right, so he's a psychopath that's just going around killing people with 2 Uzis. Then
whatever gives him an excuse to go around with 2 Uzis,
I mean, either way, it doesn't.
I think you're reading too much into it. It's like it said. There are many games where the plot is the flimsiest pretext.
But why have
for
the
violence?
No, it's not the plot. It's my issue is with the banana. Why have a banana? I don't get that bit. Banana.
So everything is fine.
It's not for you.
Everything is fine except the banana. The banana is the problem.
No, it's not for you. That's what he's stuck on. That's not the problem. That's not the total problem.
It could be a talking.
It's like.
But no, it's a banana.
I would totally give it
a banana.
Because some people think that's hilarious, James.
I would give this 100%.
They're wrong.
But because the banana's talking, 0%. Just
100% minus.
Minus 100%.
Interesting.
See, talking banana.
But look at him.
It's got a face and everything.
I like how his face is not actually built into the banana. It's not like feature rich.
It's Sharpie. Not even Sharpie.
It is a banana.
It's dirt. It's dirt that looks like a smile.
It's a banana.
Eyes.
Slow motion. It's great. I think we need more games like this. It needs a sequel.
The character moves around really awkwardly.
People on some of the reviews did mention that the character movement was more sluggish than you'd expect for an action game. And I mean, you look at the the way the character moves. I mean, other than when it's doing all the ballet and stuff, the walking animation feels really, really weird. You know what I mean? It's like if there's motion capture, they asked the person who just learned to walk recently because it seemed like really like their legs are too short.
Yes, they are,
and they're waddling quickly. I don't know if that's just a visual perception thing, but you just get that feel after watching it. It's shouldn't he be? It looks like he's running, but he's not going very fast. See what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he's got slow mode on 100% of the time, and then you can slow it down even further when you go into the action sequences. And it's perhaps it should be a little bit quicker than that. I don't know.
Ooh.
You found something of interest?
The Children of Morta demo on Steam.
Well, is it pre-register or is it pre what?
It just says timed preview events. Play demo now.
Oh, we should play the demo. Then we can talk about it. Can you play it live?
It doesn't say. It says pre-purchase.
Does it?
What do you mean? Go back to it. Pre-purchase now.
Well, it says play demo now.
With a pre-purchase.
You play demo now.
No, look. Download now.
Did you pre-purchase it?
Put your credit card.
Maybe you pre-purchased it.
Yeah.
Do you often buy games without realising? There you go. Demo.
Purchase not necessary.
No purchase necessary. See packs for details. Your home is at risk on any loans secured and not repaid. Harry Potter Wizarding World's out now, and I tried it, and it's kind of overly complicated.
Is that on mobile?
Yeah, it's out on mobile.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's a card game. Like
No, it's
no,
like
no, I'm sorry. No games coming out currently that have anything to do with any kind of magic cannot be a card game.
It's not a
like
card game.
Gwent or the Blizzard one that escapes my brain right at this moment in time.
Stone, something.
Hearthstone.
Or the other one.
Imagine-
What's the other one?
Pokemon Go.
All of them.
Pokemon Go. But
Heroes of Might and Magic.
instead of like Pokemon, you have to capture all the CGI monsters from the new films that no one cares about. It's just the problem is that
Fantastic.
yeah, the
Creatures.
fantastic beasts.
Right,
The thing is,
that's it, yeah.
I-
that film
I've-
was so not fantastic. That was
have you watched it?
I watched it on an aeroplane because I couldn't sleep.
I don't.
I also watched one of the most depressing films I've ever seen in my life. Of the two, I'd rather watch one of the most depressing films of my life.
What was the most
again?
What was the most depressing film of your life, by the way?
Well, that I'm not saying this was it, but this was one of them.
What is it?
I think it's Manchester by the Sea or something like
I
that.
don't like the sound of that.
It's Ben Affleck's brother,
Manchester,
Casey
England?
Affleck. Casey Affleck. There's no upbeat in this film whatsoever.
I-
it's all down.
I-
it's all down.
I will.
It's like a slurry into down. It's not bad, but it's down.
I will put it on my films not to watch then.
You
Anyway,
should watch it. I
So-
want to see you suffer. I want to see you actually watch a whole film.
that's never going to happen. Fantastic
It
Beasts.
never happens.
So I mean, as you're aware, the problem with Fantastic Beasts is that they just like filled it with like just the awfulest CGI animals ever. They are. The CGI is very terrible.
Pikachu?
Isn't it? You've seen it, right?
The CGI was fine.
No, it wasn't.
You haven't watched it.
I've seen trailers. I've seen clips.
The CGI was fine.
It's not.
It was not something I would pick on.
Okay, it's something I would.
A
pick on.
ginger actor that was in it that was horrendous.
That's racist.
Is no, it's descriptive. He was horrendous because he is a horrendous actor. He's won an Oscar. I mean,
Who are we talking about?
I try not to name drop,
Okay.
but anyway,
The,
they know. They know. The people that aren't listening to this podcast right now, they know.
The Voldemorts of the Ginger Voldemorts, because he shall not be named, and I've just named him. Okay. Anyway, the problem with the game is that with Pokemon.
Sorry, so this is a Pokemon Go clone.
Essentially, it's a Pokemon Go clone,
Right.
but people have grown up with Pokemon, so you kind of care about Pokemon.
Not I.
Okay, not you. The game's not for you. But
Psyduck?
the problem is that this game it's like featuring
Pika?
like just CGI creatures that you don't have any attachment to. So it's like the problem is like, why should I care about playing the game?
Well, why should you care about buying a scarf that says Hufflepuff on it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
The people who are wearing them make me want to strangle them.
grab both ends, pull. Because it's right. They are Hufflepuffs after all.
It is. No,
We're just gonna lose-
that's not the
We're
point.
going
I
to
was
lose a quarter
making.
of our listeners.
That was not the point I was making.
Those Hufflepuffs.
It's like the guy who wears Ferrari Puma shoes does not own a Ferrari. He just buys into the cheapest thing that will get him in his mental state closer to being the guy who owns the Ferrari.
You could buy a Ferrari Kiwi.
Right? You're never going to live in the
pretend he has a
world
Ferrari.
that was created where Harry Potter lives. Wearing something that says Hufflepuff on it just because it's the same as any other scarf and it says Hufflepuff does not get you any closer to being a wizard or a wizard in training in a school that doesn't exist.
It does little.
Also, which is totally on the same line as you saying you don't care about the monsters, animals, creatures, whatever you want to call them, in this game, because they have no bearing. As you were saying, you've grown up with Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right? So just because you've grown up watching 7 or 8 bad movies set in a horrendous world that is a rip-off of another literary world, right, doesn't mean that you're going to have a connection to it, maybe passing,
Yeah.
right, and then to be introduced to a bunch of monsters that never really existed until the latest franchise dump that landed means that your involvement in it is fleeting at best.
Yeah.
And unless they elaborate on this for another 6 or 7 films, your love for it is going to be waning within minutes. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I give it a try and stuff. But the thing is, they tried to make it a bit more complicated because Pokemon Go is horribly simplified in comparison to the Game Boy versions and stuff like that. Because obviously Nintendo didn't want to cannibalize sales with the existing things. So it's like, okay, you've got to scale this back so people get a taste and they go, I like this, so I will try the full fat version and stuff like this. Whereas in Harry Potter, obviously, you don't have necessarily that. I mean, you've got like the Lego games and you've got a few other things, but there's no real solid Harry Potter franchise in terms of gameplay. I mean,
do you remember the games that came out? I think they were on the PS2 or PS3.
I remember is the front cover where it was with on the broomstick playing rollerball,
Quidditch,
skyball,
yeah.
I
want to see. I want to see
Quidditch.
I want to see Harry Potter play rollerball.
That would be something.
Smack!
Right.
Yeah. Proper.
Yeah, but the thing that I take away from that
I'm talking James Caan rollerball, not this nonsense.
Did you ever watch the remake?
Cool J.
Did you watch the remake?
Yeah, that was horrendous.
I watched a bit of it.
I think James Caan may have been in the remake, but I mean the original.
The original was terrible as well.
It was amazing.
It was terrible,
but the violence was good. It was
terrible.
The 70s parts around it.
You're wrong.
The 70s sci-fi.
Amazing.
If somebody told me,
the 70s sci-fi was awful.
It was amazing.
Awful.
Amazing.
No.
On a par with Soylent Green.
I disagree with
you. On a par with Soylent Green.
Anyway.
Continue, please.
What was the point I was going to make?
Okay, what do you think about that?
Harry Potter.
Oh, it was the Harry Potter game. The trailer that they rolled out with this PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 game was all CGI. None of it was actual in-game footage.
Not actual gameplay footage or whatever it says.
If you're trying to sell it, and this was on television, this was on terrestrial television,
that
they rolled this trailer out ad infinitum, right? And if you can't even show your own game in the trailer, there's problems. I'm sorry, there's problems.
Well, no, that's just marketing, man.
No, but that's horrendous. That's like having box art back in the day with Commodore C64, and they show box art of the best version. Not the version you're going to play on your not Commodore C64, on your Amstrad 11 or whatever. It's going to be utter detritus by comparison.
Yeah, that's marketing.
Yes, it's disingenuous. I don't care. You can put any fruity name you want on it. It's disingenuous.
Yeah, it's been disingenuous.
Okay. So anyway, the game's like complicated in some parts, simplified in others. Like for instance, when you come across a beast and you have to like capture it, inverted commas. You have to cast spells. So the spell interface is a glyph is presented on the screen, and you have to trace it with your finger. So okay, that's fine. The problem is that different creatures require different spells. But they don't say like, oh, here's 5 spells and different spells work best against different types. Pick the spell. It's, here is the shape you trace. Trace it well with your finger. You trace it, and then it judges by how well you've gone over the lines. And
that sounds worse than Pokemon.
It's with Pokemon Go at least you can do like curve throws.
There's not even an opportunity to get it to like you don't even need to choose.
No, they say this is the spell. This is the spell that will fix the problem.
Yeah,
just trace the shape as opposed to which was what I was expecting. And I was like, okay, and then the next one it was like, okay,
spells which one will capture this monster or whatever.
Yeah, and that it sort of takes away. I mean, it's like, okay, you can memorize what a shape looks like and trace it with your finger, but that's just there's an opportunity for involvement, a level of complexity in that you have to actually do something to like memorize different things. It's just trace the shape, and and then they roll obviously. Roll dice in the background and say, oh, you didn't get the right score, the thing escapes, try again, or it's you beat the score of the monster. You well done, you vanquished it, and it just there's problems obviously with Pokemon Go, but I have that attachment to the franchise, so that's fine. But this it feels like unless they improve it greatly, I'm going to struggle to keep this on my phone for much longer than. A couple of weeks at best.
Is it free?
It's free. It's free to play. Obviously, there's in-game purchase, so it's got a stamina system. So if you burn all your stamina doing such and such, you can threw a few pennies at the screen to
right.
purchase, small upgrades, nothing game breaking, but just, it's just a revenue stream for it. That's fine. There's no problems with that. But it's like, it's free to play, so there's no barrier to entry. But I think you have to be, a sort of dedicated fan. You pretty much have to read the books and say, yes, this is something I want to
a masochist.
Commit to. Yeah, a masochist essentially. Annoyingly, they have not integrated Adventure Sync, which is the tie-in with the GPS. So when you're walking, even if you're not in the game, it adds the distance you walk to the game. So you can, like in Pokemon Go, there's eggs. When you walk a certain distance, the egg hatches, and you get rewarded with a creature.
Yeah.
In this game, there's portmanteaus or whatever they're called. It's called. So these artifacts, once you unlock them, again you have to walk a certain distance to, open them fully, and they haven't integrated the facility, so you have to have the phone on all the time you're walking several kilometers in order to accomplish this. And it's like, that's fine if you're like dedicated to the game, but the fact that it's even though the previous game had that feature already, the new one doesn't have it from the start. It's like, aren't they using the same code base? Do their teams not talk to each other? It seems like a weird thing that it's not included, and that
almost sounds like they missed I can imagine their marketing team saying they missed the trick. They could have had people in the game for even more hours. Let's implement that where they haven't.
I don't know. It just seems it's a quality of life.
It sounds slimy as hell.
It's a quality of life feature. And it really should have been implemented from start, purely because you can't be walking around with your phone on all the time. I mean, people do, but the thing is, they are doing other things.
Yes, yeah.
And the fact that you say, well, I'm going to dedicate it to a game instead that I'm not even playing. I'm just walking with the game on the screen, and it's just burning battery.
Is there a flimsy? I mean, from what I remember, which is not a great deal of that film, he had those creatures because he was mentally unstable or something.
Sounds about right.
And they got free when somebody opened the box because they didn't know what it was or something. Yeah. Right? So what is there some sort of story to this game?
With this game, it's slightly different. Okay, so it's set off...
Or are you just some sort of crazy person that wants to collect all...
No. Okay, right. So, premise of the game is that it's set after the...
It's set after... He's not crazy.
It's after the Deathly Hallows. It's a few years after Deathly Hallows.
Nothing.
The main characters have graduated. They're now employees of the wizarding government organisation.
Well, they become G-men.
Yeah, they become G-men. Essentially, they work for the man. And then
amazing.
A mysterious event happens where magical objects and creatures start appearing in the real world. And so wizards... What they do is the Ministry of Magic sends out letters to all the wizards who are out in the real world and says, look, we need to keep the secret from the humans.
What do they call them? What's their
muggles.
Racist term for that?
The racist term is muggles.
Good.
But we're not racist, so we're going to call them non-magicals. Anyway, so your object is to capture these objects or creatures and, make them disintegrate, send them back to where they came from, so that the muggles don't find them. And that's the premise. And then as part of the game, the storyline will be to uncover who it is that's doing this, etc., etc. So that's the premise, is that weird things happening, you're helping the government cover this up to protect the general public.
Right. So what you've just described to me there was a Men in Black game that they could do, where you have a blaster and you blast them, or the original
the Men in Black
Ghostbusters.
The Ghostbusters game is... I've tried to... The Ghostbusters game is awful.
Oh, is there one?
There is one.
What, based on the same premise?
Do you know there's also a Jurassic Park game?
No, I'm not interested in that.
I know,
Go
but
back to Ghostbusters for a second.
All these Pokemon Go clones, Jurassic Park, you hunt dinosaurs, but you don't shoot them. You use like darts to tranquilize them. And then when you tranquilize them, you extract DNA and use that DNA. Instead of you capture the dinosaur, you leave that dinosaur and you take the DNA and you clone your own.
To make Godzilla.
Because you have a dinosaur already.
You're evil though, right? And you've got a lab and you splice the genes.
You're good, but everything else you described is
Wait,
exactly
are you
the same.
Newman?
I know. So Ghostbusters.
No, he was just an employee who was stealing stuff.
Ghostbusters.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so it's Ghostbusters. You go around the haunted objects again. You use the bastard. The problem was that the mechanic it did not like my phone, so it uses AR mode. So you move your phone around the room to track. It for whatever reason it didn't agree with the sense of my phone. So even though I moved my phone, it didn't register that the phone was moving. It thought the phone was stationary. So when the enemy moves off screen, I can't move the phone to bring it back on screen. Yeah, I can't track the enemy. So the enemy was attacking me off screen. I take damage.
This sounds fun.
I literally have to wait for it to come back on screen
or kill you.
To do the capture or get defeated. And it was like, well, that's no fun. So like 2 days later, I uninstalled it, which is it's just kind of weird that like other games. I don't see that this problem. And I mean, in Pokemon Go, in this, I do movement and it tracks it.
Can you imagine a party game version of that Ghostbusters game? That would be awesome.
Well, the one he's just described.
Yeah, but
obviously it's multiple people can capture.
Yeah.
Now,
that would be awesome.
As a side note,
all see the same thing from different angles.
Niantic did a tech demo.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Niantic.
I don't know who they are.
They are the maker.
You're going to have to explain.
Niantic are the creators of the Pokemon Go and Harry Potter game. The studio do it. They do a lot of AR research. So they created a tech demo called it was called like Neon or something. Essentially, it was like it's a shooter game. So you use the phone to see, and you like fire like neon thing. And what it does, it tracks everyone, all the players. It like tracks them. So when people are cut up on your camera, it knows that they're a player, and if you shoot them, it actually registers on their phone that they got hit by you, even if they're not facing you.
This is Android Laser Quest.
So it's Android
Laser Quest.
Android
it is.
Android
strangers.
Android laser tag.
Strangers.
Yeah.
But that's it. And in the demo, they're like in a sort of like warehouse space, and they're sort of running around.
That's
like
where you play laser tag.
Yeah,
is this like the Nerf adverts where they make it look fun?
Yeah.
But in actuality, you're shooting it around in a 5x4 room.
Yes. Okay. But
Yeah.
anyway, those things aside, but it was a tech demo, so it's just saying this is what we can do with AR, and obviously some of the features like that they want to implement in future games. So very well they can do. You could do a Ghostbusters game where it would recognise that the person standing opposite you is also a Ghostbuster, and so it should animate a beam to capture the ghost that only gets picked up by the phone. These are things that can be done.
That would be awesome.
Unfortunately, the Ghostbusters game
pretty decent thing
does not do that. And
of course, it doesn't.
Yeah, it was just.
It's just a dirty cash.
It was just not enjoyable to play, unfortunately.
Just a dirty little cash in.
Was it?
Well, no, I mean,
was
it's
Ghostbusters. Was it female Ghostbusters or male Ghostbusters?
You can choose your avatar.
Oh.
No, essentially,
how very 2009.
Essentially, it's like I can't remember the story. They franchised it out, so congratulations,
so
you
you're
are.
saying I can't play with Bill Murray?
No, it's like McDonald's. It's a franchise. But yeah, no, you create your own character. You are another Ghostbuster because in a world full of Ghostbusters.
What, Ronald McDonald's in it? I want to play as Ronald McDonald.
He must be a ghost.
I think you
must be a ghost.
Yes,
anyway. I catch him. Yeah. Have it your way.
Yeah, so there are lots of these games, but the thing is, it's like you didn't know this game existed. It's like, where is their advertising?
That's why you're in this podcast, because you're on the fringe of fringes.
But this came out.
I know this is a very mainstream game, probably, but I don't do mobile games.
This came out. I'm not going to say last year. It could like at the beginning of the year. Or
every time I look at a mobile game, right? This is
your eyes glaze over.
This is 100% truth, right? I see an advert on another website or wherever, or on some video, and I go, okay, I'll bite. Then I go onto the Play Store or wherever this thing is available, and I watch some footage of it, and then 9 times out of 10, it is a really strange game that looks like it was made in the East, either Korea or Japan.
Yeah.
It has a system that seems overly convoluted for a phone, and time-consuming as hell.
Yeah.
It's pay to win as F.
Yeah.
And everything visually that I thought that I saw in the little snippet that drew me to it and drew me to this trailer was now like melted poo. It lost all of its charm, and it It was like the cloak of reality had been, put over it, and I now see it as it truly
there is a trailer you should put up. I mean, it may not change your mind, but it's
is that me? Is that me experiencing every game ever, always?
Well, no, that's just. I mean, that whole sentence is just marketing. That's exactly why marketing exists.
Yeah, no doubt.
But that's it. I mean, the thing
people
is,
get sucked into
the
that.
mobile market.
I can't believe it. Like, I'll waste 30 seconds to a minute on something, and people will waste money and time.
I find it strange that they just, this looks good, I'll get it. That's the train of thought. They don't look any deeper into it. It's like, I'll check it out. I'll see some gameplay, or I'll see someone playing it, or heaven forfend, read a review or something, a preview about it. No, this looks good, I'll get it. How much is it? $4.99. Okay, yeah, done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's probably not going to change your mind, but this game called Peria Chronicles, it's like, which is not full screen. It's, if this came out on like PlayStation or on PC, it would, no one would bat an eyelid. It's, a high quality Asian, RPG style game. I mean, the fact that it's just available on mobile is just, that's the platform it's come out on. But it has, the production values. The thing is that with the Asian markets, it's mature, the mobile market is mature, but it's a lot of the developers just go for what's, the quick buck. You churn out a game that's pay to win, that has, certain mechanics that, this other game had it, so we're going to have it, because that's what the market thing. You squeeze the money, the money out, you drop the game, and you move on to the next one. There are a lot of games out there that are better quality than that. There are, are of something, that if you saw that on, on a console or whatever, it'd be perfectly fine. The problem is that they are vastly outnumbered by the dross. And it is a case that you would have to wade through a lot to get to it. This one is, it is coming soon. I think sometime this year they're going to be starting beta tests. I'm hoping that they'll be, be global, but it may be just Korea only for initially.
This is a card game.
Card game?
It's kind of like, maybe not.
No, it's like sort of action. So like Phantasy Star Online, it's very similar to that.
Are there random battles? That's the question.
It's not random. It's not like you walk and suddenly you're in a battle. It's you can see the enemy, you run over and you punch, you engage in.
You know that what you just said, which I totally believe and agree with. You've also just described the anime market.
Yeah,
completely.
No, that's it.
They'll bank on a series, and if it doesn't catch fire, they'll burn it, and they'll make exactly the same thing with slightly different characters.
But that's what
next week
the studios they churn most of their output is just derivative harem nonsense.
Sure.
Because that earns the money, and then with that money they use it to make the art projects, the good anime. But the problem is that you have to make a lot of
hope.
They have to make a lot of the dross in order to rake in enough money to make the one project that may not be profitable. It is the way it is. But the thing is, with these markets, you go where the money is. If you make something and no one buys it...
Oh yeah, that's totally like... I mean, that is the ethos of games as well. Yeah. Otherwise there wouldn't be so many remakes.
Auto chess. There's like, the moment auto chess was successful, it's like League of Legends Auto Chess, Dota Auto Chess.
Well, the Dota Auto Chess has now changed its name, and it's like fully out now.
Yeah. It was the mod and the thing, but it's like
I can't even watch that. I've seen people playing it for hours on end.
I don't know what you're describing. Are you describing a game that plays itself?
You've not seen Auto Chess?
It's kind of like Hearthstone, except the avatars. You place all the avatars on the field at once, and then they randomly battle it out.
Imagine like a chessboard, and then you place like a few characters on your half, and then like characters run over, and then like RTS style, they just battle each other.
Yeah.
And and then when all the one enemy's defeated, you go on to the next round. You get every round, you get a certain number of gold for your performance. You buy more units, so you just like You buy units, you combine units to get stronger, you fight. And each battle lasts 1 to 2 minutes. And you just play endlessly until all the people in your brackets are knocked out. So each game can be about half an hour long. It looks like this. I mean, it's a very simplified process. And it's kind of random strategy because obviously the units you give, they give you like, here's 6 different units. You have to like guess, because they're random, you have to guess what your army might look like based on random units given to you. So the thing is, you might say, oh, I'm going to start with this one, like the goblins. And then you might not get any more goblins. So you might say, oh, crap, I've invested in these ones, but now I'm not getting any more. I have to invest in another one. And you get, like, pummeled. So the problem is there's a lot of random elements to it. And strategy-wise, I mean, how much strategy is there? Because the battling's automated. You just pick units.
Isn't there
and throw them on there.
some characters that are better against?
Yes,
other
they do have the sort of type system. So like red beats blue and blue beats green.
Oh, is it that based?
It's that kind of thing. But obviously they dress it up so it's like shadow beats light, light beats fire. It's
not Total War then.
It's not. It's not. Yeah, it's not like cavalry beats infantry beats archers.
Archers beat cavalry.
Archers beat everything if everything is far away. Don't mess with the archers, man. Anyway, but that's it.
Don't beat war weapons. Spin tanks.
Nukes beat everything. Anyway, so yes, it's like there's a amount of strategy, but the thing is, you say right, okay, I've got all these red units. The problem is you don't know what units your opponent's going to use until they're on the battlefield and you're fighting. And then it's too late to change because you have to make your selections before you know what the enemy is. In the end, you're only ever going to use your strongest units because they're your strongest units. There's no point using anything else because you don't know what's coming.
I find it odd
that sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible. It looks terrible too. I don't understand why they... I kind of understand it. Is to make it their own. So I'm kind of answering it. But they've implemented the whole you can buy certain attribute upgrades for characters during the time, like in Dota.
You can't once the units are once a battle started, you can't make any changes.
Oh no!
But yeah, you can get upgrades.
You can augment them.
It's called between rounds with opponents. They do have like a mob round where you if you kill the trash mobs. You get like pickups like weapons, armor, enhancements, which you can equip to your characters. Before in the preparation time. So there is always an option to augment your characters beyond, the basic combination things. But there's limits, and again, it's kind of random because you kill the bonus mobs, and you don't know what's going to drop. And obviously, if they come out and they're really strong and they trash you, you don't get anything. You move on to the next round. No better than you were before.
The thing that always makes me chuckle is there are probably several different versions of this game. Am I wrong?
No, there are multiple.
So this has got the skin of the characters.
I know of at least 3 big players now.
Of all the characters you can play in Dota.
Yeah.
So all of these are selectable characters that you can play in that game.
Yeah.
And they've made them PCs in order to charm people who play Dota into being part of this.
Yeah. But that's it.
Is it made by the same studio?
Well, that's
Valve. Or is it just licensed?
Yeah, it is. No, the Dota one is Valve. There's the Auto Chess, which was like a what's called essentially was a mod. And they took it out and made it a standalone game, and all the characters are like very similar. Like in Dota, there's a character called Axe, and in this game, it's called Red Axe Chief or something. So it's just like they've changed it just enough to not get sued. But obviously, you can say this character has an axe. And it's like big guy, and he looks kind of like this, and this is what the original looks like. Yeah, and you can see that they're long lost cousins, sort of thing. But if they've made enough changes to get away with it, the lawyers can't touch them. Then that's it. There's nothing further to argue. And obviously, Valve do have the Dota license. They can come in and say, right, we have a built-in market. People recognise the name. And they can go in and grab themselves a comfortable market. So it is a case that it's now everyone has to move in as fast as possible because if you don't get in the market now, you're just going to get drowned out because there's one what's called League of Legends. I don't know how familiar either of you are with that.
The game League of Legends.
I don't know. Do you play it?
Toxic.
Yeah. Anyway,
pile of.
So they're going to do auto chess, but with League characters.
Well, that sounds inspired. Wait, hold on. Why aren't they jumping on the Battle Royale? Oh, wait, this is the new Battle Royale. Who cares?
Because the thing, actually, now I can't remember if it's true or not, but I think that there was allegedly the studio was planning something vaguely Battle Royale-ish.
That wouldn't work though.
Yes,
but
it wasn't.
Mobile games are basically Battle Royale already.
I don't think it was.
But the mechanics wouldn't support multiple.
I don't think it was with League characters. I think it was they had like they were doing like a second game because they only do one game. Well, no, it's two, but they only did one game, and they were like looking at saying, well, we need to do a second game, and then that game got sort of like quietly cancelled recently. Well, sort of I think last year. So it's like. Yeah, they're back to one game, but now they've got an opportunity to use existing assets and say, right, we can just repurpose them for this.
I can't believe you have to pay for League of Legends.
They've got to earn money somehow. Isn't it? But it was like free to play for like initially, or
no?
You have to pay for it. You buy
Defense of the Ancients Dota,
yeah,
which was made by the same people who made League of Legends. Yes, that was free because it was a mod. For Warcraft 3.
Yeah, so they can't charge for it because obviously...
Well, they got run out of town by Valve, who made Dota 2 on the back of it. But then they went, hold on, we made the real game, come play our game.
Yeah.
And they were charging 40 quid for it, whatever.
But I think you have to pay for the additional champions, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is in-game purchases.
Yeah.
That's how they would have made their money.
Stuff, yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, you still have to buy the full licensed game.
Okay.
Whereas with Dota, you do not. Do you have to buy this or these auto chess clones?
If it's on mobile, then no, they're free to play with in-game purchases.
Well, this I believe is on Steam. It's not.
If it's on Steam and mobile, then
unlikely.
Yes. Well, let's have a look. Let's race to it then. Dota auto chess.
It's not what it's called. Free to play.
It's free to play. Then it's free to play.
I had the benefit of having Steam open.
That's useful for you. It's on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux.
I think
Here we go.
We've talked about Linux before.
I've triggered him. Apologies, listeners.
The
of the 5% of listeners who run Linux systems.
Wait, and Android and iOS?
No, not for Dota. But auto chess is
right.
Mobile, and League.
Stop calling it that. That's not its name.
Okay, doesn't matter. Dota Underlords then. The League one, I don't know what platforms it's coming out on, but they need to hurry up because they're missing opportunity. Anyway, so that's auto chess.
They're missing getting in before it's completely utterly saturated, like the card game market, like the Battle Royale market.
The Battle Royale market has much to be saturated. Oh, what's called?
What?
Did you hear what's called? So E3, the Fall Guys. Did you see that? The trailer for the Fall Guys.
Hold on, you're going to have to... You've triggered James already.
Lee Majors.
There you go.
Listen, not everyone is as old as you and remembers who Lee Majors is.
Some of you are older.
Woe betide the person that doesn't remember Lee Majors.
Yeah, that's like...
Awful
the fraction... Our tiny audience...
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yes.
Played his father.
Okay. Moving on.
Sorry. What is the Fall Guys?
Every week I'm in a different town.
Now, do you know...
doing my stunting, but there's a crime going on by some criminals.
And they require stunt work
I'm going to sort them out. What the hell?
We're getting distracted.
Holy moly.
It's not about a stuntman.
It's not about the stuntman. Okay, do you know those called the game shows like Takeshi's Castle thing where you essentially people run along obstacle courses?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. But imagine 100 people controlled avatars running through a 3D world where giant foam hammers and things like knock people off the course.
Right, so it's like that pinball. It's like that Marble One and like all the others that are on.
Yeah. Essentially, you have to run to the end of the course, like knocking people off and hope that you get there to the end. Essentially, that's Battle Royale. Someone created a Super Mario, Royale. Essentially, imagine old style Mario 1, where you run along the level with like 74 other players, and you have to like
think
get to
Nintendo beat them to it.
No, well, the thing is, Nintendo are going to sue them out of existence.
I think Nintendo beat them.
Yeah, no, but they beat them to it on the what was it on the Wii U? There was the party play one where you do levels with 4 people.
Yeah, but that's 4 people. This one has like 75 players per level, so it barely moves along. I've tried it. It like until like half the players are like off screen. It like crawls because obviously the game is having to update locations for like 75 units and stuff. Plus the enemies like the turtle shells. If someone like hits it, then you have to watch out because you could get run over by the shells and stuff.
Sure, but also the frame rate's going to drop even more.
The thing is, it used to be 100 players, but the developer like cranked it down to 75.
The developer, the thief who stole the assets.
Yes, he knows that it's only a matter of time before Nintendo shut down.
Why did he even bother doing?
I read
in the hopes that Nintendo will do something official, which they're not going to.
But Nintendo don't do that. That's the wrong company to target with.
Yes.
with something like that.
Innovation.
The point is,
it's not innovation.
The point is that the game
plagiarize.
lends itself well to this very simplified Battle Royale style where you have to eliminate everyone else. You get the star and you're invincible, and then you can run at all the other Mario players and kill them.
No one would pay for this because there's probably a version online already that you can play for free in a window URL. Thanks.
Yes. Anyway.
Flash. Crash your machine.
Well,
what were you going to say?
This it runs in the browser. It's a browser game.
Yeah.
HTML5 is a wonderful thing. Anyway, so the Battle Royale thing. Essentially, it's whatever. Think of a game, cram in like an obscene amount of players, and then have it elimination style.
Yeah, that's a version of Battle Royale, but that's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but that's they're going to broaden the definition, so it will be that it's Battle Royale is eliminate everyone else, be last person standing.
I still don't want to play it.
I know, but the point is that you can say it's oversaturated, but they will just move into different genres in order to prolong the life of this thing. It will run and run for a long time to come, because the thing is, since some companies have made money out of it, other people say we want a piece of that.
I can't believe platform games are making a comeback. Honestly,
platform games never went away.
No, they did.
They didn't.
No, they did. They changed into something else, and then they went away completely.
They never went away completely. They've always been platform games.
Yeah, there's always been.
Just because you don't play them doesn't mean they don't exist.
They don't exist.
Yeah, but I mean,
homebrew games on Steam don't exist.
No, Jack and Daxter or whatever wouldn't have had 5 games or 4 games or whatever it is.
Sure, and there was a period where they were not making those games.
No, they weren't making those, but other people were making other ones.
No,
because
they weren't.
There was a whole,
there was a point where all the Banjo Kazooies, all the Marios, all of them had stopped.
No,
I think
you'll find at least
there are always platform games. They've never
at least
gone away.
2 platform class games came out every year. I think you'll find that. That'll be your home.
Like I said, just because you haven't heard of them doesn't mean they don't exist.
Yeah.
Well, it also does mean that they don't exist.
Because it has to be in your sphere of like knowledge for it to exist. Is that what you're saying?
No, but ignorance is bliss, isn't it?
Well, that's not.
As the old adage goes, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
The answer is yes.
Yes, of course it does.
Vibration,
but prove it to that person that didn't hear it.
No, that's a stupid question.
That's not a question. It's a
wipe
proverb.
the smile off my face.
Was that from a movie?
Wait, you want us to punch you?
Wipe the smile off my face. What movie?
Ignorance is bliss, man. It's not
what
a
movie.
It's not a movie. It's not a movie.
What movie?
It's not a movie.
Is it not? Then this is a boring game.
Jeez, man.
Right,
answers in the comments below. I
think that was great.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to cover?
Well, I don't know if we've got time to talk about Stadia and the whole streaming debacle. Or should we leave it for when we've got more info?
Let's just say that.
Let's leave it till.
We have reservations about Google's anticipated. Service that very few people are going to be able to experience at its best.
but then what?
But you have to.
But why are they moving it away from
Future-proofing.
physical? That's the thing. That's the thing that I don't. That's the thing that boggles my mind.
I think we should talk about it then.
I don't think. I don't think it needs anything. The only reason they're doing that is so that they can keep the price artificially inflated, because you have to pay $9.99 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there's no.
There's a service fee.
Completely no second-hand market at all. So you can't go and buy a second-hand machine and buy second-hand games.
It's exactly what
bullshit.
Microsoft has done as well.
But almost all the game publishers want this. They want subscription.
Of course
music
they do.
studios want subscription.
Of course they do.
Movie studios want
That's
subscription.
not how things work.
Everyone wants. Listen.
I don't.
Okay, James.
That's
Listen.
aside from the.
Let's look at movies, right?
Yeah.
Movies. There's slowly the death of disc media and the movement to streaming services. This is what the studios want. You've seen that, like Disney have got their own streaming service. Everyone wants because they don't want you to own the movie. They don't want it so that you can watch it whenever you want.
Right.
They want you to pay for the privilege. Ideally, in an ideal world, the movie studios would like you. Every time you watch a movie, you would have to pay for it. Every time. That's the ideal world. We can't. They would have to. People fight against it.
You shouldn't use that phrase, mate, because that's not an ideal world.
No.
But any.
Do you understand? That's what
I know what you're saying.
The movie execs want that, and the music execs, they want this. Obviously, the next best thing they can get is a subscription. You have to pay. You don't own it. You're renting. You're renting content.
Okay.
You're renting service. And this is exactly
but
it's wrong. I don't.
It doesn't. Well, wrong doesn't matter. The morality of it.
Wrong doesn't matter.
But the morality of it is not their concern. You have money. They want it.
This is never going. This is never going to work long term. People will buy into a service like that.
Yeah.
Right. But then on the back of that, as people always do,
what, gym membership? A year later, they'll realise I haven't used it. Cancel.
Exactly. Right. No, there's that, but there's also another thing that will happen. When people bring out software and they have games that you've got to pay your £50 for, what happened to Rage? What was their little Rage 2? What happened? When they sold it from their own website, they managed not to put in a thing that stopped people from hacking it.
Yes.
Right? So, wait. This is a bigger thing, right? Not only will people hack it, but then they'll hack it to the degree, like with music, where it will become a thing. And then that thing becomes legalized. And then you'll have people who will buy second-hand, if you want to call it that, digital copies. So people will be selling digital assets, just like they sold their physical assets.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to purchase those second-hand. It won't be second-hand because it's not really a thing.
However, the piracy market will be fractional compared to the legal market.
Do you really think that?
The streaming music
can be copied
but streaming music,
instantaneously.
it's going up.
The piracy
in terms
market
of
is
the
fractional compared to the legal market.
Yeah, the streaming music market, it's overtaken CD sales. It is slowly increasing. It will never be as big as it was, but the fact is, people subscribe to music services because they want the convenience.
Are we going to move on to
they want
the
they
crapness
want
of
millions.
MP3 format?
We're not here to debate the quality. That's another podcast. That's digital
FLAC
digital
is
quality
available,
podcast.
people. FLAC is available, people.
The point is,
lossless.
People
audio,
want
compressed.
convenience, and people are paying.
Quick, somebody stuff a suck in that man's mouth.
So that's it. This is why Apple Music, Spotify, all these services exist and are gradually thriving because people are paying for it.
Okay, right. I'd like to put another point across.
Okay.
The people who I know who listen to music via Spotify, not everyone, of course, right, have no taste in music.
Okay.
They will listen to what is put under their nose.
Here's the thing.
You're trying to make a point?
No, but the people who have no taste in music outnumber the people who do have taste in music. Am I right or am I wrong?
I don't know.
Think about all the people you know.
I don't know.
Taste
I
is
can't.
personal.
I would say
the
people. Okay,
you people are arguing
the people.
madness.
If you say
taste is personal, man.
Taste is personal. Okay, well that's it. Taste is personal. But
but all these services have an algorithm where they're going to shove the latest Taylor Swift thing under your nose because they want that demographic to go up because
they
it
shouldn't,
suits
though,
them
because
it hits their.
That's not how.
Exactly.
That's not how it
But
should
that's
work.
It's
not how it should work, but it is how it works.
It's called popular music.
Then you're ignorant to it. Then
No, I don't think. I think if you listen to Bach all day, you're not going to get Taylor Swift or Katy Perry. I think if you listen to Megadeth or whoever, Sepultura,
I guarantee
get
if there's a front page, if there's a front page to any of these, which there is to iTunes, right? It will be advertising. It will be shoving it in your face every time.
That's not on your playlist. That's
and
not on your.
If you're not paying for this service and it's free, they're going to advertise this garbage to you.
But that's not on your roulette. That's not on your.
What on the algorithm? Eventually, it will be.
It won't.
It will.
It won't.
Because it will be something that's like something, something that's like something, something that's like something is like this.
The 6 degrees of Taylor Swift.
I'm just using her as an example.
Let's skip aside the recommendation algorithm for.
I mean, look at Google.
But yes, what's popular will become more popular. Big surprise. This is the way feedback algorithms work. You know, as more people like a thing, it gets exposed to more people, which will like it more. It becomes more popular. Yeah.
Until it's.
I'm not debating that.
Yeah, but what was the point? Because I mean, it is. With music services, they say, right, okay, we have the popular stuff on there. People will flock to it. It just becomes people are lazy, and generally, as long as enough people are paying for it, it will maintain a certain level.
Sure,
but yes, subscription services are coming everywhere. This is the future.
Also, and I'm going to.
It's a dystopian future.
I'm going to opt out of them as long as I can.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because
I buy CDs. I buy and rip CDs.
So I'm looking to buy a CD in the near future.
Yeah, but that's fine.
I even know what it is because I have taste in music.
But the problem is
I'm not going to randomly walk into a place that sells CDs. There are not many of those.
We are a dying breed.
Right, but also, as long as things like Steam and now the Epic Store and others exist, people are going to stay with those.
No.
And they're not going to jump on the subscription. Anyone that buys an Origin Pass to play a game 5 days before it's released, when they could pay it without having that Origin Pass, is mentally ill.
But
as time goes by, and the studio, the publishers,
that just depends what gets big.
The thing is,
they're not going to anticipate. No one's going to know what topples Fortnite next year.
Imagine a scenario where EA goes, right, all EA games are only available through Origin. Only available with subscriptions.
Sweet, I'll cancel my
Fine.
subscription to.
But
I'll uninstall, shall I say, my
Origin. But the thing is, people,
and then I'll never hear about EA.
But that's fine. But the thing is, people go, "Oh, I want to play this game," so they subscribe to it, and that's where it begins. It just requires a few services to think, and then eventually it becomes the norm.
Yeah.
And other publishers go, "Oh, hang on,
that's how it started.
We want revenue."
As far as I'm aware, 10 years ago, when I lived in Mexico for a few months, there was the person one of the people I was living with was signed up to EA's service, which was a service that you had to pay a monthly subscription for, that you could play any of their games, any of the catalogued games at any time. That service, as far as I'm aware, doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it might. But it's not thrust down your throat when you turn Origin on.
Yeah, but...
So they had to regress back to a formula that was much more like every other hub, ergo Steam, and every other one that exists.
Sony, Google, Microsoft are throwing money at the streaming problem.
Yeah, look, I'm not...
I know, but
I know it exists. I know it's going to perpetuate more that exists, and there's always going to be a dichotomy.
Yes, there'll always be a dichotomy. But the problem is that if subscription service becomes the majority, then it becomes a big problem.
I'd love to see, because the Xbox One S digital only has just been released, or is imminently being released.
Yeah.
I think it's actually out. You can buy it. It's like £170 and you get 3 games with it.
How big is the hard drive on that?
1 terabyte. I think they offer some cloud storage as well. But
so you can get 15 games?
Or you just buy really small games.
But but that's not even it, because once you buy the game, you own it. So it'll be like Steam. You can uninstall it and reinstall it at your leisure. But
but how much time does it take to reinstall the
download
game
40 gigs
before I can play it? What are you talking about? And then I've hit my data cap. Come on. Do I get that data back? Because I've deleted it off the hard drive.
If you send it back up the pipe.
Does my ISP give me that data back? Yeah, send it back up. Send it.
Reverse the flow.
You've deleted it from the hard drive, so yes, you get the data back.
No, I get the data.
You get the space back.
Not the storage.
He's talking about bandwidth.
Sorry, you're not on a shitty plan where you have a cap. So
imagine I'm American.
He's struggling.
Well, here you go.
How does one do that? You'd look the same. You'd sound a bit stupider, but
don't alienate our American audience.
Okay.
That's like
okay, cool.
An unknown proportion of our audience.
Anyway, in a year's time, I'd love to see what the sales for that is, because it's basically getting a remastered game, not remastering it, and bringing it out and saying this is the same thing as you already own, but a little bit worse because you can't buy second-hand games that are now a fraction of the cost.
But you can't buy second-hand.
After the Xbox 360, Microsoft was planning that the Xbox One would be no download. It'd be download only. They backtracked on that.
They said that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
but they had the common sense to realise that the market hadn't got there yet.
The Xbox 360, they were planning to be again medialess, download only. The market wasn't ready for that. They've gone each generation. They've done it. But they're slowly achieving that goal.
What's the new one called?
The PlayStation 5 is
not real.
Just like the Xbox successor is not real.
They've announced it at E3. It could not be more a thing. Whereas Sony weren't even there, didn't talk about it. It doesn't exist. Sorry, until Sony say this is it.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
Except they've announced a hardware partnership with AMD.
They already had a hardware partnership with AMD.
They've announced a new hardware partnership for
Who gives a shit?
Because you can't announce a hardware partnership for something that doesn't exist!
Wait.
Sure you can.
Wait.
You can. It wouldn't make any business sense.
They've been developing the next console.
You always develop
the moment the old console was released.
But you don't say that. Look at him when you're saying that.
No, he knows that. What he's saying is that there's no material.
It doesn't exist.
There's no official material.
Okay.
That's all he's saying.
Yeah.
Except he's saying it doesn't exist. Which is slight a misnomer, but you've got to go with the flow.
Okay. On Canon Rumours, a website that does exist, right? They show sometimes
other rumour sites are available.
they'll have.
But I only use Canon.
They'll have a picture of a thing that they think is a thing.
Okay.
Right, and they can't prove it, and they say we've caught a new lens out in the wild with a photographer. We know he's part of Canon's partnership program. Blah 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 blah. No proof. Does that mean that lens exists because they spout it on a rumours website when they have no spec, they have no price point, they have no knowledge that this is a real thing, but they have a picture that vaguely looks like a thing that they don't know what it looks like? Does that mean it's real?
Possibly. But are you saying that rumour sites
okay,
this isn't
Schrodinger's cat. It's not possibly. It's either it is or it isn't.
Well, if they got a thick picture of it, then maybe it is. They got a picture of something.
My point is,
doesn't it exist?
My point is it could be an existing thing. Yeah. They are just creating bullshit around.
Okay.
So if Sony say we've got a hardware partnership with AMD, congratulations, you've had one since the PlayStation 3 probably.
All they want to do.
Who cares?
Is make their stock rise a couple of points.
I could say that this podcast is the biggest video games podcast in the world.
We also have a hardware partnership with AMD.
Yeah, except we don't have any hardware. And
neither
do Sony at this point.
AMD, send us some samples.
It's NVIDIA.
NVIDIA. We've got a hardware partnership with both NVIDIA and AMD. Except they don't know about it.
And Intel.
I can't prove any of this.
But
Intel. It's totally a thing.
I mean, they're all in that box behind you. That's a hardware partnership. Right?
Well, confirmed. Yeah. I've just turned around.
Yep, exactly. So you're wrong, I'm right.
I've just seen the PlayStation 5 as well. It's sitting on the other side of the room as me.
Shh! This is not PlayStation. This
We
is not
thought
the
it was going to be in
PlayStation.
that colour.
This
as
is
well.
not the PlayStation Rumors websites.
Yeah, I thought definitely green, but I wasn't expecting that colour.
No. Deep purple.
Like Captain Beefheart.
Okay, and I think that wraps it up for this podcast. So, any closing thoughts?
Are you triggered?
I am triggered.
We're not here to argue. We're just discussing.
We are here to argue, actually. But, I think we've achieved peak arguments.
Because I see this. I
But the
don't
thing
see
is,
eye
it's
to
like-
eye with you.
But the problem is like it was like we've lost. We're just arguing for the sake of arguing at this
No.
point.
Look, until it's a thing, until there's a spec, there's no spec on the Xbox One. There's not that much spec on the Xbox One either.
Yeah,
There's
I mean they can
anecdotal
announce something and then just
specifications.
change it.
Exactly.
But the fact is, we
Right.
know a device is coming.
Sure, but
When you say
it's
the
like
Xbox
the sun
One,
is coming up
you mean
tomorrow.
the one by
It's-
Xbox, not the Xbox One, because the Xbox
Yes,
One is
I meant the one by Xbox.
right.
The wait, is it called the One by X?
Yeah,
That could be the
that-
name.
Wait, no.
Confirmed. You heard it here first.
Right, I wasn't triggered before, but I am now. What? You're shitting me, right?
it's just got a code name.
Okay. Oh, that's right. It's
Scarlet.
Scarlet. Yeah. Okay. I was about to say because
with two T's.
That's
like
the correct way.
like the like.
That's
the
a
actress.
name, actually. To be fair.
There is Scarlet without two T's.
Yeah.
But it's Scarlet with two T's.
Yeah.
Look,
So that's why I was
that's the
making
name.
the differentiation. Anyway, I don't care about the PlayStation 5. If it has the same backing as the PlayStation 3 and the same backing as the PlayStation 4, it'll be a console that I will never look at.
Okay.
There was one game that was an exclusive on the PlayStation 4 that I thought I would like to play. It did not make me buy a PlayStation 4.
Okay. Fair enough.
Unless somebody gives me a PlayStation 4,
Sony, send us a PlayStation 4
right,
or 5.
I will never play
We're not
this
fussy.
game.
What is the game?
Bloodborne.
Ah, is it not available on PC?
Nope.
That's weird.
It was made exclusively for that.
But wait a few years, it'll come out on PC.
It was.
It won't.
Really?
It was quite.
I think it was
small.
100% never going to happen.
Who?
Yeah.
But who published it? Who's the publisher?
Bandai Namco.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
It's FromSoft.
Okay, but that's weird. That's
No,
weird.
it's, no, it's not. That's
it's
how
all-
licensing agreements work.
It's
Yeah,
also,
but the-
it's
the-
also the property.
A lot of license agreements
you see,
have
I
limits.
didn't get to play that,
Yeah.
but I got to play Dark Souls 2, which while Miyazaki was directing Bloodborne, a game that seems like fun and is good and has its original ideas, I was left playing Dark Souls 2, which was a steaming pile of dung
Okay.
and not a successor to Dark Souls 1, and made me hate Dark Souls 2. So I got the bad end of the stick.
And so as a result, you bear a grudge against...
I bear a grudge against no one. I bear a grudge against bad computer games.
You bear a grudge against Bloodborne... Dark Souls 2.
Only 'cause
Exclusivity license agreement.
only because
Damn
I own
them.
it and I played it, and I've got better sense than to play it anymore.
Have you played Dark Souls 3?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
But he came back,
He came back.
and he went, whoa, no.
Let's pretend that one doesn't exist.
Do you remember Bloodborne, that game I made exclusively for the PlayStation, and the other game, Dark Souls 1? Let's put those two together, and this is the love child. And I went, this is awesome.
You should write to Steam and say, I want my money back on Bloodborne 2.
Unfortunately, I didn't purchase it on that, so couldn't.
You should write to Steam anyway and say, look, I
I'll
didn't
write, I'll write to Microsoft and say, I
This is-
bought a physical copy,
This is your fault.
and then I bought the expansion packs. Please can I have my money back?
I'll give you...
Retrospectively from 5 years ago,
I'll send
or whatever.
I'll send you the media. You have the disc.
Yeah.
The disc.
You
The
can
box is good
remove it
condition.
from my Microsoft account and I'll send you the disc.
Yeah.
Please can I have my money back?
See what they say.
I feel like I got rolled over and effed.
You'll have to beep that out.
What effed?
Yeah.
Why effed?
Because it's... some of our audience is very, very...
I think they've left. Those audience members left the podcast. They stopped listening about 25 minutes ago.
I think they didn't start listening. According to listener numbers. Right.
That's the end of episode 7.
That's episode 7. You can like and subscribe us on all the bits and pieces. Something will come up and tell you where we are. We're on those services. Please listen to our other podcasts. They are great. Some are greater than others.
We'll have a couple of special episodes where we'll be doing an in-depth playthrough of demos and betas of games that are upcoming also.
Look forward to that. We will describe them in great detail and tell you how much we love them, which will be a lot. We love them a lot. Send us review copies, everyone. Thank you. That was the Digital Suffering Podcast. If you'd like to suffer some more, you can find other episodes on Red Circle, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Radio Public, and SoundCloud. Please like and subscribe everywhere.